The week started off with the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup on Monday, and since then, it's been nothing but non-stop news ever since. This week, we've had a bunch of normal news, buyout news, extensions, trades, and then the NHL awards just happened too. In this video, I'm going to go over and talk about everything that happened this week and get you caught up to speed on all the things you might have missed. But before I really get into it, please consider dropping a like if you find this video useful at all and share it with people. Also, if you like the video, please consider subscribing. It helps me out and it helps you stay up to date with all the new news in the NHL. For our first piece of news this week, Alex Meruelo is selling his rights back to the NHL of the Arizona Coyotes. For those of you who don't know, whenever Meruelo sold the team to Utah, he got to keep all of the rights to the team, such as the history, the jerseys, the logos, all of that type of stuff, in order to bring the team back within 5 years once an arena was built. But earlier this week, the land auction that the Coyotes were going to pursue got canceled, and now they can't do that, and Meruelo decides he's done and sold the rights back to the NHL. Now the Coyotes will have to go through an expansion process with a new owner, which is probably the best case scenario. If you want more regarding this situation, I just made a full 11-minute video regarding this entire subject. Go watch it. Next up on the news, NHL is now full-time with Fanatics for all of their jerseys. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final was the last time an Adidas jersey will be worn by an NHL player in-game. From now on, Fanatics will be the main jersey partner of the NHL, at least for the next 10 years when the contract expires, and a lot of people are skeptical over the quality of the jerseys, but I'm hoping that they're going to stay relatively the same because they're being made in the same factories in Canada. I want to know your thoughts about this though in the comments below. Are you hesitant about this? Next up, John Cooper was named head coach of the Canadiens' Four Nations Face-Off and Olympics teams. I think this is a very good choice. John Cooper's been one of the most dominant coaches in the last couple years over the NHL, and this is a well-deserved honor for him. A very big piece of news for the Edmonton Oilers is that Ken Holland is not coming back with the Edmonton Oilers this year. He said he's going to take some time off and decide what he wants to do next, and apparently it's going to be a more laid-back role if he does come back. Rumors are circulating that he could go to the Chicago Blackhawks front office. Then, also earlier this week, we had the 2024 Hockey Hall of Fame list get announced. The recipients are Pavel Datsyuk, Jeremy Roenick, Shea Weber, Natalie Darwitz, Chrissy Wendell-Pohl, Dave Poyle, and Colin Campbell. Then in more sad news, Sergei Berezin passed away at 52 and Marty Pavelich passed away at 96. Both of my regards are with their families. Also this week, Claude Julien was hired by the Blues as an assistant coach. Claude Julien brings Stanley Cup winning background, and I think it'll be very good for the Blues, especially as they're trying to culture reset. Then last up for the main news, Steven Stamkos will apparently test free agency after the Tampa Bay Lightning didn't offer him more than $3 million. I think that's a horrible look for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let me know what you think in the comments below though. Next up, let's get to the extensions. First up, Dylan DeMello signed a 4-year contract that'll pay him $4.9 million per year with the Jets. After that, we have Casey Middlestat, who signed a 3-year extension with the Avs that'll pay him $5.75 million. Very good extension. Next up for the Utah Hockey Club, we have Vladislav Kovalankov, who's making $775,000 times 2 years. Then another depth signing, Oscar Back signed a $775,000 times 1 year deal with the Stars. Another move for the Utah Hockey Club was signing Liam O'Brien to a 3-year deal that'll see him paid $1 million per year. Now we're going over to Vancouver, where Teddy Blueger signed a 2-year deal worth $1.8 million per year with the Canucks. Then, next up, Dakota Joshua signed a 4-year contract that'll see him paid $3.25 million annually. Then, the last move for the Canucks was that they signed Tyler Myers to a 3x3 contract. Going over to the other part of Canada, Matthew Highmore signed a 1-year deal that'll see him paid $775,000 with the Ottawa Senators. This one isn't completely finished yet as it's not July 1st, but UC Saros has apparently locked in an extension with the Predators at $7.74 million annually on an 8-year contract with the Predators. This is a very good deal, but it has led to a lot of question marks regarding Yaroslav Askarov's future with the Predators. Then next up, Alex Petrovic signed a $775,000 contract times 2 years. Then next up, Calvin Pickard signed a 2-year deal that'll see him paid $1 million annually. Next up, let's move over to all the trades that happened. There was a good bit this week. First up, the Red Wings traded Andrew Gibson to Nashville for Jesse Kiniskinen and a 53rd overall pick. The Red Wings then traded Jake Wallman in that 53rd overall pick that they got from Nashville to the Sharks for future considerations. This move was just strictly a cap dump, and it's very weird. Jake Wallman has been taking very good minutes for the Red Wings, and he did struggle a little bit in the second half of last season, but he's still a very good player, very good defenseman that scores goals. A lot of people online have been confused about this, and hopefully this week we'll see the bigger picture and why this happened, because if not, this looks like a horrible deal for Steve Yzerman, and I don't understand it whatsoever. The next biggest trade, the Canucks traded Ilya Mikheyev and the UFA rights to Sam Lafferty and a 2025 second-round pick to the Chicago Blackhawks for a 2027 fourth-round pick. This move was also just strictly a cap dump. They used this deal to get rid of Ilya Mikheyev's contract, just so they were able to sign their players that they needed to before they would have hit free agency. And then a little bit more of a rare trade happened, where we see picks get traded before we even know who's taken off the board before the draft. The San Jose Sharks traded the 11th overall pick to the Buffalo Sabres for the 14th overall pick and the 42nd overall pick. Now let's move to the other part of California, where the LA Kings traded Carl Grundstrom to the San Jose Sharks for Kyle Burroughs. Then, arguably the biggest deal of the week, we saw Andrew Mangiapane traded to the Washington Capitals for a 2025 second-round pick. This is a very good pickup for the Capitals, but I don't think they should have done it. Sure, Mangiapane is a good player, but he doesn't really move that needle that'll get the Capitals back to a dominant playoff team. I hope it works out for them, but I honestly see this potentially being a waste of a deal, considering that he's a UFA at the end of next season if they aren't able to re-sign him. Back to LA, they traded the 21st overall pick to the Montreal Canadiens for the 22nd overall pick, 57th overall pick, and the 198th overall pick. Just another pick swap to move up a little bit in the draft. And then this trade just broke right before I started recording this. Alexander Texier was traded to the Blues for a 2025 fourth-round pick. The player's full of skill, but he hasn't really panned out in the NHL yet. The Blues then turned around and re-signed him to a 2-year times $2.1 million annual value contract. And then last up for the news this week, let's go to the NHL awards that just happened. First up, after his dominant season, Nathan MacKinnon won the Hart Trophy and the Ted Lindsay Trophy. Then, Connor Bedard won the Calder Trophy, who beat out Brock Faber for the top spot. After that, Quinn Hughes took home the Norris, and then Connor Hellebuyck captured another Vezina as the top goalie in the NHL. This week has been very chaotic for a bunch of different reasons. As I'm recording this, tonight is the night of round 1 of the NHL draft. Depending on how many trades happen and if they're significant, I can have another recap video done by the end of the weekend, and then July 1st hits on Monday, and that's when free agency begins. I'll be able to do a very comprehensive free agency video on Monday night. So make sure you subscribe and look out for that video, because I'll let you know where everybody went, because it can get very confusing on July 1st. But I want to know your thoughts on everything I covered in this video, and please comment down below if there's anything else that you want to see on my channel. I really like making long form videos, but sometimes I have an issue with trying to get video ideas out, so let me know what you want to see and I'll go ahead and make them. Since you've made it this far into the video, why don't you go on ahead and drop a like on the video. It really does help me out and helps the video get to a bigger reach and audience. As more news happens this weekend, I'm going to drop more shorts keeping you up to date with it as soon as I can. So be on the lookout for those, and thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one on Monday.